As a PC gamer, you know plugging up Ethernet to your gaming PC is the best way to have a stable gaming experience, but in a lot of scenarios, that's just not possible. Whether you're in a house that doesn't have Ethernet, which a lot of us do, including me, or your parents won't let you drill a hole in the wall to run Ethernet to your gaming setup. Some of us are just forced to use Wi-Fi, which isn't always a bad thing, but Wi-Fi implementations, especially if you don't have a third-party router solution, can be pretty poor. But one way you can upgrade your Wi-Fi setup is with a mesh Wi-Fi system like today's video sponsor TP-Link and their BE17000 Wi-Fi 7 mesh setup. Thanks again to TP-Link, they sponsored this video and sent over this setup for me to showcase to you guys because Wi-Fi can be much better than most people make it out to be, especially when it comes to your gaming PC, because a lot of people running the stock router that comes with their internet provider, they're losing a lot of Wi-Fi performance just having one centralized router in their house. With a mesh Wi-Fi setup, you can spread that Wi-Fi across your house very easily with a repeating mesh network, improving coverages in dead zones, which happens a lot in people's gaming setups, while also giving you the ability to upgrade to Wi-Fi 7, a very exciting technology that a lot of new devices are using. And we'll talk more about what Wi-Fi 7 is, how it works, and why you should care about it. And then after we talk about everything that this system comes with, I want to be deploying it in my home setup. I recently upgraded my router to a standalone Wi-Fi 7 router from TP-Link, which is really good, but I've always really enjoyed their Deco mesh setup. So I'm going to be implementing these Decos in my home setup and show you guys what the performance is like on a wide range of different devices. So what is Wi-Fi 7? Well, Wi-Fi 7 is a new Wi-Fi standard that a lot of devices are adapting, and the major difference is the support of MLO, or multi-link operation. Multi-link operation adds 3 Wi-Fi bands compared to the standard 2 Wi-Fi bands you may be used to, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. It also adds a 6 gigahertz band, which allows for super fast throughput on devices that support it. When using a device that supports Wi-Fi 7, when you connect to the 6 gigahertz band, you get up to 17 gigabits per second full throughput over Wi-Fi, which is incredible speeds, and a device like my 17 Pro Max is one that takes advantage of it really nicely, which is really cool to see as a content creator who wants to have really fast Wi-Fi to, let's say, upload videos that I film from my phone to YouTube or live stream from my phone from my gaming setup, or when I'm using my ROG Ally X, I can get great speeds when gaming online and also not have to wait forever for games to download on Steam to my device. Having the Wi-Fi speeds like that gives me a lot of flexibility. And with the addition of that additional band with Wi-Fi 7, that improves network latency and the ability to handle more Wi-Fi devices at once. We know firsthand when you load up a network with a ton of Wi-Fi devices on older Wi-Fi standards, they tend to bog down, and no matter how much a router preaches their speeds, if you have a lot of devices they can't handle, your device is going to suffer. So with Wi-Fi 7, even if you don't have a ton of Wi-Fi 7 devices just yet, having that MLO band will allow you to use those Wi-Fi 7 devices separately on that additional band and then free up a lot of resources for the rest of the devices on your network, making Wi-Fi 7 implementation a really good idea even if you don't have a ton of devices just yet. And with the Deco BE17000, you have the ability to cover up to 8,500 square feet, so covers a majority of homes, and up to 200 devices connected to your network, which is a lot of devices. Even here at Toasty Bros HQ, we don't have that many devices connected to our network, so you have the ability to max this thing out, and it's going to handle it like a champ. Now, remember when I talked about not having a wired Ethernet connection on your gaming PC? Well, let's say you do have one and you still want to upgrade your Wi-Fi. These Decos can replace your main router, which is the way I recommend you implement this. You can pair them with separate routers, but the whole Deco ecosystem works better if you replace your main router with the base station and then use the 2 other repeaters as repeaters throughout your house, which we'll demo when we get to my house and set everything up. But what's really cool is it does come with a 10 gigabit port. And if you happen to be a big baller with 10 gig internet coming in from your internet provider, if so, I'm absolutely jealous of you. You can take advantage of that full speed as long as your motherboard and your device that you're connecting to also has a 10 gig port. If it does, you can have some really blazing fast internet that you probably aren't fully taking advantage of just yet. Now, before we take this back to my house to set everything up, I'm gonna go over how the implementation will work. What you'll do is replace your main router with the main base station in this kit. Very simple to do, transfer things over to that router. Then you can do 2 options. You can place the mesh repeaters around your house, download the TP-Link app, and it will go through the setup process to bridge all of them together, and it will use a mesh setup where it's distributing Wi-Fi between each of the stations. Now, one thing you can do if you do have the ability to get Ethernet in multiple places and want to improve your Wi-Fi coverage, again, most people watching this video may not have that and they're just wanting to improve Wi-Fi without adding Ethernet to each repeater, which I know is what Jackson does with his at-home Wi-Fi setup to improve even more coverage, basically giving you routers in multiple spots that'll alleviate any drop-off that may happen when you're transferring from router to router without Ethernet directly plugged in to the separate base stations. And with TP-Link's seamless roaming, which you can enable within their app, you can walk throughout your house and constantly be switching between the most accessible access point to make sure that you have Wi-Fi coverage continuously throughout your house. No worry about having to jump between Wi-Fi networks when you're in a different part of your house. It seamlessly roams as you move. So how about we take this back to my house, unbox everything, show you what you get inside the box for setup, and then deploy this thing. See how it works in a home setup that is very real world and very not optimized for networking. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Wi-Fi 7 will look like in the form of a mesh network like this. All right, guys, we are back at my house ready to deploy our new Wi-Fi 7 setup. But first, let's go ahead and show you guys everything that comes in the box, and then we'll go over the plan of how we're gonna set everything up. Inside the box, we have the 3 Decos themselves. The cool thing about this and modern Decos, whether you're getting Wi-Fi 7 or a slightly older version, is that all of these are the exact same, meaning there isn't one that's just necessarily the main base station anymore. All of these have the same port layout, as you can see on the back. We do have access to a wide range of different ports. We have a 10 gig port, a 2.5 gig port, and a 1 gig port. We also have an SFP Plus port and a USB 3 for adding on devices to your network and power, along with a WPS button to get everything synced up. Now, how you implement these is very straightforward. Where possible, hook up these directly to Ethernet if you can, but if not, all you have to do is run these off of power, and then the Decos will basically communicate with each other and bounce the signal throughout your house to create a mesh network. Now, why I say use Ethernet where possible is because it would improve the coverage where each of these would have their own dedicated Ethernet instead of pulling from each other repeater, because sometimes signal can drop off that way. So where possible, add an Ethernet directly into this to get the maximum coverage. But if not a big deal. As long as you have one of these hooked up to get it working, you could still improve your Wi-Fi coverage in your home. And that's how I'm gonna be implementing mine. I'm gonna be directly plugging up this one as my main router, where my current router is located. Then I'll be setting up these other ones throughout my house to see what kind of Wi-Fi coverage we can get. And then we'll be testing the speed to see what kind of upgrade this was like. Now, the rest of the accessories are as follows. You do get a reset tool for resetting each one of your Decos. It looks like that is now a recessed button on these units. You also get 3 power plugs to power the units. I'll show you guys what they look like. They are a pretty beefy little power brick, so you gotta make sure to find a clean enough space to plug this up in your home. You do get an included Cat 6 Ethernet cable to hook this up to your modem to get Ethernet directly to the first Deco. All right, guys, I'm not wasting more time. I'm gonna take these Decos, I'm gonna place them around my house. Now, one thing I do recommend you do, and something that I'm gonna do to avoid any conflicts with the new network swap, is you wanna power down your modem, make sure that's all off. You don't wanna confuse your modem, especially when you're adding new Wi-Fi routers into the mix. Power down your modem, be sure to power down all your devices, plug everything up, and then boot up the modem and then plug in these devices to make sure everything syncs up properly. And then we'll be naming this our current Wi-Fi network ID and password, so all our devices should resync. Sometimes it doesn't work. If you have a device that's finicky, that disconnects a lot, I recommend you unplug that too to then power back up once the network's gone, so it doesn't get really confused. So some of my cameras I am going to unplug beforehand just to make this a little bit easier. All right, Deco number 1 is placed next to my modem. Let's place the other one. Deco number 2 is placed in the kitchen. This one is just going to be a repeater. And the last Deco is placed below the TV. Hi. Now we're just going to power on the modem first, make sure that's all set up, and then we should be ready to get these through the setup process. I said setup 1,000 times. Rebooted on the modem. Let's plug up the first Deco. We're getting power, ladies and gentlemen. Deco number 2 is lit up, ready for pairing. And the last Deco is ready to go. Now let's go ahead and go to the app and set everything up. All right, guys, so I just got done setting up my Decos, and it was a very smooth process. I recorded on my phone here, which I'll show some of the footage on screen while I'm talking about it, but the setup process was very straightforward. I went ahead and loaded up the Deco app, which you do want to install on your phone. From there, it'll auto-detect the closest Deco to you, so I recommend getting to the one that you want to be your base station, which for me was in my family room. I set that up. It shows that the Deco is flashing blue, which means it's the one it's trying to connect to. From there, I was able to build my network with optimized settings. So my IP is set to dynamic because I am running a dynamic IP address. I also was able to set my network ID and password very easily. And again, since I'm replacing a current network, I made the exact same as my one as before. So some of the devices I wasn't able to hard shut down and also don't want to do a brand new network reset up with every single Wi-Fi device in my house, it can rejoin automatically with no problem. And then all I had to do was wait patiently for it to go into the final setup process, power up all my Decos, and they all automatically connected together. Just that easy. I did go into settings to fine tune a couple things. Inside settings, the one thing I do recommend you do is turn on fast roaming, which is a setting that allows you to actually use your Decos properly, walk around your house and have your device automatically connect to the closest Deco to get continued speed throughout your house. I then also enabled my MLO network, which is the network that'll auto switch between 2.4, 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz for devices that support Wi-Fi 7. So that is a separate device network that I can use for my Wi-Fi 7 devices like my 16 Pro Max, which we'll be doing a speed test very soon with once I make sure all my devices are rebooting and working properly. And just like that, I have upgraded my network to a future-proof Wi-Fi 7 setup, and it was very easy and plug and play. I really just do recommend if you have an existing network to unplug as many of your devices as you can and unplugging the modem before setting everything up to avoid any chaos of something not working properly. So as long as you do that, and based on how it's looking so far, I was able to do that without any problems. You should be good to go. I'm gonna go make sure all my stuff is booted up, and then we'll do a Wi-Fi test on my phone and on my desktop. All right, guys, so we're gonna run a desktop speed test. All my devices are connected on my network. No problems there. Everything is synced up and ready to go. Let's make sure our wired connection is good. Now, my internet connection here is only gigabit, so 1,000 down, 1,000 up. I'm not gonna be able to take advantage of that 10 gig port just yet, but maybe there'll be an upgrade I do in the future. Now, I'm getting a little bit below my speeds, which is very common for residential. We're getting about 830, 140 down. Let's see what our upload speed is. Very close, over 900. So I do think some of my Wi-Fi devices are downloading stuff and starting to set up on the network. So this does not surprise me at all with my gigabit Ethernet plan. So if I wanted to improve this, I could up the speed, and I do have the ability to upgrade within my network with that Wi-Fi 7 and 10 gig port option. I could even run a 10 gig directly from that router coming off my modem to my PC if I wanted to, and start building up a 10 gig networking infrastructure with this pretty affordable Wi-Fi 7 setup. So far looking good here. Let's go ahead and test on my phone with the MLO network. So I am connected to the new network, and we're going to see what our speed tests look like. Again, gigabit connection. Let's see if we get anything crazy. Oh, we're soaring. We're soaring. There it is, baby. Look at that. 800, almost 900 down. Oh, we're going faster. We're getting faster than I was on my desktop. Oh, look at that upload speed. Wow. All right, we'll make sure you all see that nice and clear. Come on, focus. Focus on this. That's fine. So as you guys can see, 925 down, 902 up. My camera does not want to focus. As you guys can see, 925 down, 902 up. That's pretty crazy for mobile. And again, that's basically what my throughput is. I'm not bottlenecked anymore. I am now being bottlenecked by my connection coming in, not my networking in-house, which is super sick to see. Now that I have everything set up on my network, I do want to reiterate why it is so important to consider this upgrade for your home setup. If you're a techie like me, you know you're loading up your house with tech devices. And even if you're not a techie, you're just somebody who has a basic security system, Wi-Fi cameras and things like that, you know when you add more devices to your network, it's going to get bogged down. And with this TP-Link Deco system with Wi-Fi 7 support and that MLO network, you're able to load balance a little bit better, even if you don't have devices that are Wi-Fi 7 out of the box. So it is a good upgrade to do, especially if you're coming from just the standard modem router combo that your internet provider gives you, or you're running an older, just basic router. Upgrading this is a really good option, and it's super plug and play, and you don't even need to have Ethernet to each one of the Decos. In a perfect world, that would be an upgrade I will do here on the channel where I actually get Ethernet throughout my house in an older home that was built in the 70s. It'd be pretty cool to get Ethernet to all of them to even further improve the speeds, because when I do go further away, I'm not going to get the full 900 all throughout my house. I'm probably going to get more like 300 to 400 in the back rooms of the house, and that's still acceptable, but I could improve on that with Ethernet to each one of the Decos. So thanks again to TP-Link for sponsoring today's video. If you want to learn more about TP-Link and their Wi-Fi 7 products, check the link in the description down below. We'll be an affiliate link and it will help us out. Let us know what you think of the Deco ecosystem when it comes to TP-Link. Honestly, sponsored video, but it is my favorite way to get Wi-Fi up and running in your house, especially with a mesh Wi-Fi setup. It is super plug and play and does a great job at improving your Wi-Fi connectivity. So as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to check out our other 2 YouTube channels, Toasty Clips and Toasty DIY, for more Toasty Bros content, and follow us on twitch.tv/ToastyBros. We are coming off a 48-hour live stream where we gave away a ton of different prizes, and we'll be doing more giveaway streams very soon, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Now that you've upgraded your Wi-Fi network after watching today's video, you should probably upgrade that gaming PC as well, and you can do that with PCBros.tech, our PC company where you can buy gaming PCs today. Use code ToastyBros on checkout, you will save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.